G'day guys, welcome back. We're going to do a bit of a video today just covering the basic recovery gear that you would need for your lap. Alright guys, welcome back. My name's Grant from Living Like Kings. Today I thought I'm going to do a bit of a video just to cover the basics. If you haven't done any touring before and you want to set off and do your big lap, you're not really sure what to carry, this video is for you. If you're a four-wheel driving so-called expert and you're experienced, this is not for you. Scroll on. Okay, this is for the guys that aren't sure, the newbies that don't really know. I'm here just to sort of say what I carry as a bare minimum, just to sort of get you through and hopefully get you out of any sticky situations. So let's get into that, shall we? For me, the first thing that I would always carry as a minimum requirement is a winch. Okay, so you don't have to have a big hoop bull bar, like a big 3 hooper. You don't need to have necessarily a big bull bar. You can have a nudge bar or a single hoop, which is just like a little hoop there. As long as it's winch compatible, that's fine, okay? But I would always carry a winch and try to make it a winch that's going to cover the weight of your car and the caravan combined, just to get you out of trouble. If you can't, then you can, and you do get into a pickle, you can always unhitch, rescue your vehicle and then your caravan or trailer afterwards using the winch and probably a winch block, just to sort of get you out of trouble. So that's number one. I would always carry a winch. As part of the winch and the bull bar, if you have a bull bar, you have to have and make sure you get rated recovery points mounted to the chassis, not the bull bar. The bull bar can come off. You need to have them mounted directly to the chassis, okay? That is the most important thing. The strength is in the chassis. And you want whatever forces coming off that winch, pulling the vehicle out of the situation, to be coming off each chassis rail equally. So I would always use a bridle or a chain or a tree trunk protector. Can work as long as they're rated. What that's going to do is even out the energy from one chassis rail to the other. Wrapping it up, rated recovery points, winch, bull bar. But really, make sure you have a winch. Okay, so there are a lot of recovery packs that you can buy that different companies are supplying, that you can buy online or at four-wheel drive shops across the country. It's your decision, really. They're all pretty good from what I've seen. I personally have the Camp Boss 4x4 from All for Adventure recovery pack. So before we headed off, we already had recovery gear from years of four-wheel driving, but I didn't really want to take it. It was all used. I wanted to start off with brand new stuff, so I knew it was in good condition. It had all been pre-loved. So this stuff is now pre-loved. It's been used recently, and some of it I can't use anymore, but I'm using this as an example for today. Now, the first thing I'll always recommend that anyone have on their vehicle at all times is a tire puncture repair kit. I have the ARB one. They all come pretty well standard, okay? The reason why I chose this one is because the handles on the tools are one molded aluminium or cast aluminium kit or handle. So these are pretty solid. You don't want any plastic, in my opinion, because you're putting a lot of pressure on these when you're trying to ream out a hole on a puncture, and you really don't want handles breaking and shards of plastic or whatever, or even the spike going into your hand. So that's pretty much the only reason why I chose the ARB kit in particular. It is good, like the rest of it's good. It was $50 and we've used it a few times, and that's all it takes for it to pay off. Once, really. So make sure you have one. Oh, they're so dusty. Make sure you have one of them. Doesn't matter. I don't think it really matters what brand, as long as it's good quality. So we're not affiliated by any of the brands. Okay, it's just, it is what we use. The recovery pack that we had purchased, again, was the Camp Ice 4x4. First of all, it came with a static rope, or a static line, which is really just a Dyima rope, which is what most winches come with these days. I haven't seen too many come with steel rope anymore. It's mainly this nylon Dyima rope. I found this really, really beneficial. Like, just handy to have, really, because if the anchor point to winch off, or a tree or a rock or whatever, is too far away, you can run an extension line with a tree trunk protector, this, and then to the actual winch line too. So it just extends that reach for an anchor point. Very, very handy to have. Secondly, it comes with a rated Kinetic Rope, which is basically the modern day replacement of your snatch straps. These are rated, the tag's been ripped off of this one in particular. I'll find out what they're rated for and put it in here. This is, in my opinion, or these are far better than your average snatch straps. Purely because I don't think they take up as much room. They are far stronger. They take a lot more punishment. And I mean, look how thick that is. Again, this is nylon, similar to your Dyima winch rope, but it's designed to load kinetic energy and dispel it, or use it to recover a vehicle. Whoever thought of that is up there for thinking, because it's brilliant. We've used it, we love it. I won't go back to a conventional snatch strap anymore. Not for this truck. For your average four-wheel drive, probably, yeah, that's fine. But for this heavy vehicle, yeah, I would stick to the heavier duty Kinetic Ropes. The average touring wagon won't have a rear recovery point. This is what this is. So it slots into your toe socket, and then you can just pull straight off this. This is a hard D shackle. This is friendly for soft shackles. Okay, that's a soft shackle. It's really easy to use. You pull a bit of rope through the loop, it goes over the knot, tight, it just pulls tight, and that's not going anywhere. These are ridiculously strong. This particular one, I'm not sure, because it's copped a beating, and I'm going to replace it because I don't have any faith in just the fraying that's going on. I guess the nature of the beast, you use these things, they're going to show signs of wear. You don't want any signs of wear when you need to actually use them, because they might fail. So you may need to replace them after a couple of good recoveries. Just a few, light boggings isn't going to require you to buy a whole new kit, but I would definitely replace them when they start to show signs of wear. Okay, so we've got the rear recovery point, the soft shackles. You don't want any hard edges. So make sure that when you get your front recovery points, if you're going to use hard steel rated D shackles, which is fine, it does the job. It adds weight though. And if unimaginable happens and something gives way, particularly under strain of a winch or a snatch, then you don't want anything like this flying through the air. People have died. So again, recovery is something you need to be experienced at and know a lot about to do it safely. And if you don't, keep people right away. So this is why we go to the soft shackles. If these break, they'll hurt if they hit you, but they're less likely to kill you. That's why I tend to stay away from hard shackles now, but that's a good recovery point. So at the front recovery points, if you're going to use these attached to the recovery points, on my recovery points, it turns out they're not soft shackle compatible. They have slightly sharp edges. Not good for diameter rope or nylon rope under strain. So I do put these on first and then loop the soft shackle through them. Okay, that's perfectly fine. My word of advice would be not to drive with these on. Don't tour around with these on. A lot of people do. My opinion is that they can come off, they can come free. You want to have them sort of come free so that you can take them off on and off if you need to. There's no point in putting thread lock on that. It's just going to be frustrating if you need to get it off. So my opinion is to take them off when you don't need them. So don't drive with these on. They can come off, they can cause damage to your vehicle or others. So take them off when you don't need them. Next thing it comes with is a tree trunk protector. This one's been used recently, so she's filthy, but that's reality, right? So the tree trunk protector, the idea of that is in the name. It's a tree trunk protector. Most anchor points are tree trunks. Good, healthy, girthy ones that aren't dead, that have a good footing in the ground and won't fail. You don't want to harm the trees. So how do you anchor your winch to a tree? Well, you don't always have the extra line on your spool to go around the tree. So you use one of these things. You simply unroll it, wrap it around, and then you can either put your clavis hook off your winch straight onto that, or you can use a soft shackle through them, around, and then winch off that. Okay, that works really, really well. And you're not damaging the tree, which I think is pretty important. Okay, so you don't want to go out there and wreck the environment, wreck trees. You want to go there and have a good time, be respectful. Now, the other purpose that I've discovered for the tree trunk protector is a bridle. So before I mentioned when you're being recovered from the front of the vehicle, you have the two recovery points going off each chassis rail. You want to try and disperse the forces involved in a recovery off both the chassis rails. So how do you do that? You need a line that's going to disperse that energy, and that can be this. This will do it. It's not specifically designed for that purpose, but providing that, so this is rated, it's got a braking strength, according to the tag, of 10 tons, 10,000 kilos. Your average vehicle is going to weigh 3 to 4. If it's stuck in the mud, add another 2, 3. So you're still under the braking strain of this. So you should be fine doing that, generally speaking. Otherwise, use a rated chain, but then again, that's more weight. So I usually stick to the kit that I've got. Next thing, most kits will come with one of these. What's that? What it is, it's a pocket that you fill with sand or whatever, dirt, rocks, preferably sand. And then over your winch line, in the event that the winch line breaks, you don't want that winch line whipping here, there, and everywhere, potentially harming people. So what this does, with some weight in it, it sits over that line and disperses that energy and that line might break, it'll just drop to the ground safely so that it doesn't hurt bystanders or damage any vehicles. So again, pretty important safety gear to have. Okay, so the next thing is a pretty important basic piece of recovery gear, and this one's seen better days, I gotta say. Doesn't matter what brand, in my opinion, whatever works, whatever you can afford. There are at least two well-known brands on the market. This is Tread, a Tread Pro. They all work. It just depends on what you prefer to use. Some of them are better quality than others. Some of them take more punishment than others. But from what we've seen, Max Trax and Tread are pretty good. So I usually stick to one of those two. They will get destroyed. This one in particular has been absolutely punished. So you get bogged in sand, mud, soft soil, you need traction. So first of all, what you'll do is let your tires down. Second of all, you should already have your tires down already. We'll get into that later. You're not going to get any traction on that slippery clay, mud, sand, whatever. You need to pull yourself out of the hole. That's what these are for. You jam these in under the tread of the tire and you just gently try and claw up them. Not spin a wheel up it like I have and destroy them. So these have all been used pretty well. They're dirty, which is also why I have a trundle tray. This is not part of the video, but this is my dirty little spot to keep my recovery gear, just so it's safe and out of the way, and you're not putting dirty gear in the back of your wagon with all your other stuff. No one wants that. Another thing you could also do if you don't have one of these trundle trays is a gear bag. These are so great to have. I use this one as a rubbish carrying thing, just to sort of get the rubbish from my campsite to the nearest bin or tip to dispose of that responsibly. You can use them for all this stuff. You know, like all this stuff gets muddy and filthy and sandy. If you don't have one of these trundle trays, well, you got to put it somewhere, don't you? At least till you get home and you can wash it all down. It's pretty important. So get yourself one of these. Doesn't matter what brand, as long as it fits your tires, as long as it is functional for you, chuck your dirty stuff in there and wash it later. Another thing that you'll need for most recoveries, but also just camping as well, I find a shovel a pretty important thing to have. Now, it depends on your setup, it depends on your preference, whether or not it's a one piece or a full handle, wood, fiberglass, whatever, or a 2 or 3 piece shovel that can literally just screw apart and then you can chuck it in your trundle tray and hide it away. Or if it's a one piece, you might want to have one of these sorts of quick release mounts. This is a Rhino Rack quick release mount. It just sort of gets fitted to an awning bracket on the side of your roof rack, and it just wraps around the handle of your shovel. And it will carry it like that. So you have 2 of these. I've only got one at the moment, but imagine I've got one here and one where my hand is holding the shovel on the roof rack. They're really, really good. I find mine, for some reason, have gotten a little bit hard to deal with. They get a bit stuck from time to time. So I'm actually going to go away from these for a little while. But I would recommend them. They have been quite handy to have. You want to keep them clean, keep them lubricated, but also make sure that they're functional and they work really well. Okay, so your shovels. This is a 2-piece fiberglass shovel, and it's been combined. I think my wife did this up because she's really good at doing things like that. You can't do it. So this is, okay, so on shovels, right, my wife is Wonder Woman. This was a one-piece fiberglass shovel. She was helping me do a recovery of this vehicle recently. And she got a bit excited and carried away and decided she didn't like it anymore, and she just broke it. So anyway, that's the end of that one. So we've got this one, which is a two-piece, and I'm pretty sure she put it together because I can't undo it, right? Anyway, so this is a Mean Mother two-piece fiberglass recovery shovel. So in the kit, it'll come with an actual rear butt handle. So you can use it as like a shorter shovel with a handle, or you could put the tail end of the handle on top as well. I find this one particularly heavy myself. My wife doesn't like using it. I don't mind it because I'm a bit bigger and stronger, and my back's not great, so I need to have a long handle shovel. But it's too heavy. Even after a while, for me, I'm going to get tired. So I'm going to try and find a replacement for this. But again, that's getting off the point. There are recovery shovels that kind of look like a snow shoveling shovel. I don't think that, apart from sand, I can't see how they be that versatile. If you need to do a bit of track building, for example, or if you need to move some hot coals out of your fire onto your camp oven, I'm not sure how well that'll cope. Whereas a conventional heavy-duty shovel face, so that's been in the fire, as you can see, a bit of rust and all the paint's come off, but it's been well used. I would always stick with something like that myself. You can actually get, it doesn't matter if what shape, if you get it like an actual spade, whatever works, as long as you can use it for a recovery and it's there when you need it and not when you don't. So that's the shovels. Let's say you get a puncture. You've got a puncture repair kit, you've repaired the puncture, or even if you're going off-road, you really need to know your tyre pressures and you need to let them down. You've had your fun, you've repaired the problem, whatever, but you need to get air in your tyres. It doesn't have to be hardwired into or hard mounted onto the vehicle. It can just be a portable air compressor, single cylinder, whatever. It doesn't have to have the highest capacity. As long as you can get air back into your tyres after whatever issue has arisen, whether it be a recovery, you've gone off-road, you've been beast driving, you've got a puncture, whatever. You need to put air back in your tyres to hit the blacktop. So you need a good air compressor. Now, I have a twin-cylinder ARB air compressor. It's a pretty high flow, but it's pretty thirsty on the juice. So you have to have the vehicle running. Most compressors, that's the case, but this is great because it pumps up 8 tyres, 4 of them being 35-inch tyres, quite quickly. And I rate it. I think it's great. But whatever you need that suits you for your setup, you might have a smaller 4x4 wagon. You're not going to have the space for something like this. Maybe not even the battery capacity. So whatever suits you, that's what you get, okay? So it doesn't have to be anything as fancy as this, as long as it's functional. To deflate the tyres, you need to have some sort of deflator. So there are different types of deflators. There's this type that you can get at your service centre or petrol station, whatever. You can find these pretty much anywhere. You simply push that onto the valve, get the reading, press the little red button to reset it, and then go again. So I think that was like 20 bucks or something like that, easy. I keep one of those as a bit of a backup. Now I also have, again, not sponsored, but ARB easy deflator, and it's the old analog style. Now they've got digital ones now, and you know, you can always spend more and more money on gear, but if it's functional, it's functional. You know, you don't need to go all fancy, in my personal opinion, especially not if you're just going to do a 1 year travel. So just get what you can. These are great. So these, in my opinion, work far faster and more efficiently than your entry-level deflator, because all you're doing there is you're depressing the valve and the air is escaping not that quickly. This one here, you're actually removing the valve. So it screws onto the valve, and then this part here screws the valve out, and then you pull that part of it up, and the air escapes really quickly. So you can get down from, say, 60 PSI down to 30 PSI in no time at all. It's really, really good. If you're a bit lazy, and if you do these, if you have to play with your air pressures and air down pretty often, I'd recommend having a look at these little plugs. So this is similar, these ones are similar to the Campos easy deflators. So you can actually set these to the pressure that you want, or the poundage that you want, and then you screw them on, pull the plug out, and off they go. They will cut off at that pressure that you've preset them. So they won't let the tire deflate below the preset. I find these really great. I've used them a few times. We bought them halfway through our last trip, and I'm contemplating getting another set just so that I can just screw these on the truck and then have another set on the Caravan, and then just have it all done faster. That's going to be fancy though. You don't necessarily need that. You will be able to get by with the basic. I would recommend this one, although you'll crouch down. If you've got bung knees like I do, crouching down for 5, 10, 15 minutes by 4 or 8 tires can get a bit much. So get yourself some of these little plugs. That they are fantastic. Not terribly expensive, but I mean, it all adds up. Alrighty, so in conclusion, this video is designed to show you the bare minimum you need to get around Australia safely and get back. If anything happens, you've got all this gear to really get you out of the proverbial poo-poo. I would highly recommend getting a minimum kit. You can get them anywhere, you can get them online, they're not that expensive. So many companies make them now, and really get what suits you. Teach yourself how to use them. It all adds up too. It all adds up with money, it all adds up with weight. So you need to be so careful with what you choose and why, where you put it in your vehicle, and do some research. There's a lot of comparisons you can do from let's say, for example, tire deflators. There's countless of them on the market, all varying in quality, price, and so on. Again, look, you want something pretty good, but that'll do you for your trip. If it happens to go after the trip and it doesn't work anymore after the trip, big deal. If you're planning a trip and you've got only so much money, you've only got so much time to get yourself around Australia or on your trip, you don't want to spend too much of that money on gear. Try to be responsible with your budget for your gear too. There is a lot the lower end stuff that will work most of the time, particularly if it's brand new. Don't buy secondhand stuff just for peace of mind. That's my opinion. If you've already got a lot of this stuff, then you're already sitting pretty for your trip. So all this gear is in mind for the adventurer, for the person that wants to do the lap and see pretty much everything, and then go to places that less people are at. Therefore, more remote, a bit rougher, you need more gear, a bit more risk involved in that too. If you're not interested in any of that sort of stuff either, there are some of the things here that I've shown you that you may not need. But the things that I will tell you that you will need, I would say a tow rope, a chain, a shovel, deflator, tire puncture repair kit, air compressor. If you have those things, you should be sweet. Everything else is the more off-road recovery gear. You may not need that. If you don't have it and you want to go to places that really those things should be required, maybe just go with someone that already has that gear. And at least then they might have the experience to use it, and you can help each other out. So there's always a way around it. I really hope this was helpful for you guys. If you haven't sort of seen us before, jump on, like and subscribe. Drop a comment in below if there's anything that I've missed or anything that you think that is really a pretty essential part of your recovery gear or touring gear. So yeah, I'd love to hear from that, and I'm sure everyone else would like to read those comments as well to try and learn if they don't already know already. See you in the next one, guys. Thanks for watching, and hopefully we'll see you out there. Cheers.